Hi Mihi, this is Fancy, and I'm looking at your design and comparing it to what you said. So you're gradating across pathways, and it looks like you're just using 3 steps, so dark, middle gray, and light. So dark values, middle gray values, and light values. Also, you're using single pathways, gradating from pathway to pathway. Okay, and you're asking if you have better figure ground ambiguity. I don't know what you had before. Um, and I think that it's looking fine. Um, there is quite a lot of gray, so I can see if somebody was saying, well, that gray looks like a background with light and dark visual pathways on top of it. Let's see how we can modify that. It could be that maybe, what do you think? Do you think the gray is grouping a little bit much with the black? Because you remember they have to be equal value contrast across all steps. Um, to me, this contrast between this path and this path, the boundary, seems to be harder than this contrast here and here. But I would leave that for last. So let's look at your gradations: dark, medium, light, back to medium, dark. So that's looking good. Dark, medium, light. And then of course maybe this going back to medium. And so this pathway is going under. Here they're going from dark, medium, light back to dark. So something here is not, these black triangles aren't working because they don't follow your gradation. And then also we're kind of grouping them together. So you need to alter them. They're right next to the white. So think about that. I like these visual pathways that are, I've never seen anybody kind of round off the corners, and I think that's pretty neat. I think you should do that. Yeah, I think that's a really neat thing to do, and that's probably another reason maybe that's why they look like the gray as a background. So let's see where you could round. I'm trying to see. So you round it off here, and you round off here. Okay, they're all kind of rounded off. I'm wondering if maybe you included more of those in the gray, then I think they would feel less like the ground. I'm trying to see where you would do that. This shape feels like a focal point to me because it's the center and it has a distinctive polygon shape. Gosh. What about this one here? So does this path continue, like does it continue like under these and then pick it up here? Or is this the pathway? Which one's the pathway? So you need to clarify that. Like you could round off this top here. And then the same for this one. You have this path coming down here, but then it runs into this one, or does this pick up over here? So if this path is supposed to be separate from this path, then you need to somehow create better contrast between these two, even if it's just a little bit. And I'm not sure how you're going to do that because you've pretty much used these same 3 values. Maybe this value, this darker value, could be here, and this could be a lighter value. So maybe making this more of this diamond shape can be the darkest value, and then making maybe this one too. My eye is still going right here and right here. That's the biggest issue for me at this point, besides these. And then I'm also seeing this one here, but then you have it down here. But I'm not sure what it's a part of, other than just gradating across the path. It could be part of this pathway here through closure. So what are we going to do with this diamond shape here? That's what, or this, not diamond shape, but this rounded off polygon shape. Maybe you could break it up a little bit more. So it goes here, kind of winds its way around, or I'm trying to think if it wasn't, you know, it was wider this way, like it was one more pass, so it went like this, but then everything else has to shift that way too in order to do that. We talked about that. So what other things were said during critique, and what kind of changes did you make? Hopefully you'll have time to post this one more time after kind of considering some of my comments. All right.